back.
Welcome back. I feel like it was just yesterday that we were talking.
You know, I'm kind of a little bit sad as things wound down and there was a smaller crowd. You guys had to go because it was a work day.
It was.
The next day, obviously,
Yep.
and the drive, etc. Some dark beers were opened that I wish you had partaken in.
Oh, were they extremely tasty?
There were many a bourbon barrel.
That does sound pretty good.
Yeah, it was just yesterday. We're recording back-to-back pods because the holidays are coming up, so these are going to come out. Who knows when? I don't know.
I also don't know.
We looked at a calendar. It's going to work out.
Time is complicated and difficult, so...
Sure. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
You may.
Do you have a mechanical keyboard?
I do have a mechanical keyboard. Here, you can hear it. I hope I didn't mess up this recording, actually.
Yeah. I type on my laptop, and those are the little switch keys, you know, the little flat keys, so you can barely hear me type during a pod. Specifically because this is what my mechanical keyboard sounds like. Loudish. How old is yours?
It's not that old. I also have what I understand to be unusual switches for, quote, gaming mechanical keyboards.
Cherry MX something or others?
Oh, well, that Cherry is a brand, right? But like
everyone uses those though, right?
They're I think they're one of the very few that make them. But the colors are usually the things that are the difference between them, right?
Right.
And my keyboard is a black.
And it's just the color on the switch, right?
But like
mine are also black.
The type of resistance is different based on the type of color, right? So,
right, but the actual color on the switch. So mine are also black.
Yes, yeah. So black, for those wondering the differences, I don't know all
black,
of them.
Blue, red.
I think there's a
yellow.
white. I think that there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying I don't know all of them, but I know for sure that black has an even resistance all the way up and down until the button is pressed. And so
it's very springy.
Yes. And so it can require more force to press the keys sometimes than if, for instance, you have some of the other ones where it requires only a little bit of force and then the key goes all the way down with very little resistance.
Right.
That's your mechanical keyboard minute right there.
My keys are all great. My switches are all great. My keys, on the other hand, my keyboard, if you shake it with the slightest force, they seem to fly off in every direction. They don't seem like they're on with like any sort of... They just seem to be on there with a little bit of tension. And over time, they've all kind of like broken. I have a bunch of keys that are blank because I've had to order blank ones.
To like replace the A or whatever that decided it didn't want to hang out.
What comes next to D is F, and then next to F is G, right? So those are gone.
Mm-hmm.
L is missing.
Goodness.
They've all been replaced. But they're blank now, so I kind of have to memorize my keyboard.
Which in theory, you probably have it memorized. It's just when you look at it, you don't know. Your fingers would know if you were typing.
My fingers know. Yeah, absolutely. But I just noticed that like even the slightest like, ooh, I hit that at the wrong angle, and now the one next to it just came off.
Oh, well, that sounds lame.
Is it maybe age? It is.
It could be
a decade old.
I don't know. I haven't had this keyboard for a decade. I know I got this from monoprice.com. It's not like a name brand or anything. It's just Monoprice. And it works great. I don't know. It was like $25 or $30 or something. There was a great sale.
Oh.
But I love this keyboard and I use it all the time. I think keyboards are one of those weird things where you don't appreciate how good a nice one is until you have one.
Yeah. I'm just trying to make an excuse that mine's too old, maybe.
I mean, it could be. It very well could be. You know, the springs and stuff in them give up. I don't know why the keys are all flying off the handle, though. I haven't ever seen that.
Too much force.
Maybe you are what do you call it? I don't know the word for like a person who pounds on the keys too hard.
A 2-year-old?
Okay, I wasn't going to say that, but I feel like you probably typing with more precision than a 2-year-old would be, but maybe 2-year-olds are better at typing than I think these days. I don't know.
I feel maybe the keys fly off equally. I don't know. Anyway, that's enough about keyboards. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right, man.
How was your first day back in San Diego?
It was good. I want to, since I was unable to drive due to losing my driver's license card.
Oh, we didn't really cover that, did we?
I don't know if we really talked about it. But yeah, I lost my driver's license card. I didn't lose my license. I still have that. But
okay,
I don't know where the physical card went, and I don't actually know when I lost it. So I don't really know.
Oh, so you can't like call around places.
Yeah, exactly. The only places we would have been that it would have gone missing at would be like giant public places where it would just gone.
Where you would have taken it out for something?
Yeah, the only places I can recall. So yeah, that's a little scary. I checked all my like accounts and stuff to make sure there was no like crazy stuff going on in my name.
Maybe someone will mail it back to you someday.
Yeah. So thanks to my fiance for being my chauffeur for a day and a half there.
That was awesome.
And yeah, so then I got, as a consequence of this, I got to attend everyone's favorite institution, the Department of Motor Vehicles.
I feel like you're being facetious.
Yeah, because Andrew, when was the last time you were at the DMV?
I don't go there anymore.
That's a really good answer.
AAA and have them do it.
That's a really good answer. Well, guess what? You can't go to AAA to do this. I know because I tried.
When I got my motorcycle license, I think maybe was the last time. So like 2009.
Yeah, because if you're doing the renewal, I think you can do that at AAA.
Sure. But if you have to take a new picture?
No, I didn't have to take a new picture. But you do have
thumbprint?
They did do a scan thing on my thumb. I don't know if that was just to like verify identity or to actually put it on the card. I don't really know what the card is going to look like now. But you do have to go to actual real DMV to get a replacement license, which sucks. So, and because it was short notice, obviously I did not have an appointment. So I got to stand in those very fun lines that DMV is so commonly thought of as. I got there like 40 minutes before it opened in the morning and was still like the 20th person in line. And there's some kind of numbering system at work there that I don't understand. It's based on like letters and numbers and probably the time it takes to do the various tasks or something.
It's an archaic system.
It's baffling from the outside anyway. I'm sure there must be some consistency to it, but I don't know what it is. And I think I was number G, as in goat, like 12 or 15, I think. And there were people, like 20 people behind me who got like A15 and were processed way before me. So I don't know how the numbers
maybe just like work. Basic renewals go faster. Or...
Yeah, it's very possible. They're like, oh, you're just doing a thing that takes like 1 second here. You're in this line or whatever.
I know they have some sort of appointment system too. Did you do that?
So that was what I was trying. No, I did not do an appointment because the appointments are all last minute. Yeah, too last minute. I would have. I looked to see if there were appointments available for the place that was near me, but there were not any. Mm-hmm. And the nearest time that had an appointment was like January sometime. So that seemed like it was slightly too long to wait. So I just stood in a line for like 40 minutes before it opened and then another hour and a half sitting around inside. But I got to read a book. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Was late to work, but I mean, what are you going to do?
You just say DMV, and I think everyone just kind of like pats you on the back and says, "Don't worry about it, man."
Pretty much what I said when I talked to my boss. He was like, "DMV, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Your tax dollars at work." And I'm like, "Or not, as the case may be."
Yeah, fair enough.
But that's all taken care of. I have a piece of paper now that says, "Yes, I have a driver's license." I dread that they will not issue the license to me before the piece of paper expires, and I have to go back again. That would make me very sad.
How would you feel? Just like what the mixed emotions that will happen when
that assuredly happens.
You get your it expires. You get your old one back in the mail because somebody's really nice and mails it to you the next day, and then like a week later, the new one shows up.
That would just be a roller coaster of emotions. I don't know if I don't know if my heart is ready for that kind of up and down.
I tried to pick the order with the most complicated answer.
It is going to be a series of both like, yay, like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see what's up with that. I may just start looking for appointments near the time when this expires now so that I have one if I have to go back.
Oh, good point. Yeah, that's not a bad plan. Backup.
And I guess, I don't know, I hope you can cancel those. Or I guess that they're not going to penalize you if you don't show up, right? It's not like you have to pay for those appointments.
Yeah, I guess not.
Anywho.
All right.
So that was exciting, but not that exciting.
I think it's like a time we haven't done a newscast in a while.
Yeah. Is there some news?
Well, I think there's a lot of it overall. We touched on it 2 weeks in a row now that Hearthstone was going to have a big release. And then, last time we were like, let's talk about Bravely Default instead. You want to talk about new games? Nah, let's talk about 10-year-old games.
Hey, it's about what we are playing, right? Not about
That's true.
Not about what the man is telling us to play or something.
Or what gamers are playing.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we used to be those, but now maybe we're not.
I don't know. How's Hearthstone?
Hearthstone is really, really fun. The new expansion, Kobolds and Catacombs, is out. And I think the single-player stuff in this is maybe some of the most fun single-player thing that they've released.
The new dungeons.
The dungeon run, yeah. It is...
Go ahead. I have to say, just from what do you call the type of, anecdotal evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is popular. This is really popular. I'm getting text messages from people that I haven't talked to Hearthstone about in a year that are like, oh my gosh, dungeon runs. I've already beat them with 2 classes. It's so fun. I've tried it 19 times with Shaman and I can't get through.
Man,
you know who you are.
Yeah.
So it sounds like maybe this is going to be a hit. Hopefully they get enough action to expand it. They're like, hey, people that do this are actually paying us money too or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how they move this feature along or if they want to do something similar or what. But the very best thing about this mode that is so cool is that if you've never played Hearthstone before, your experience playing this, you have no cards to your name, right? This experience is the same for you as it is for me, someone who's been playing the entire time. Because there's no collection of cards required. You don't need to have any cards to do this. All of the things you need are provided. You just play it and go through it. The experience of playing Hearthstone is what you need and can be helpful, right?
And from what I've tapped through, it seems like it's almost even unrelated to ladder play.
Completely not.
You're not going to learn anything either. It's just go play a different thing with cards.
Yeah, and in fact, the more you play the thing, you learn some of the quirks of the various various bosses that you might face. You might go, oh, okay, I know this guy is going to have these cards, or he's going to play this way. Or when I encounter, these sets of cards, they're really good, or these treasures are really powerful. And that might make me want to shape my deck in a certain way. But, all that stuff is like the meta game around the game, and it doesn't require you to know anything about Hearthstone outside of that, once you've experienced it a little bit. So it's probably an amazing thing for new players, just jump in there and do this thing that's completely separate from the ladder and separate from the rest of the game. You're still playing it, but it's
even new players, right? They're going to get a great experience out of it. It feels great to people like me. I'm getting texts from people that didn't play for a year, and I'm getting texts from people that have been playing that I haven't texted because I've kind of fallen off of the game a little bit. I can't keep up with the card releases, but now I get to re-engage talking about something I don't have to pay to do for something that's still on my phone because I like the company, I like the game. But they're like, hey, re-engage with us for free and do this fun free thing. Maybe they expand this mode by making it paid. Add a new set of non-Kobolds dungeons for $5.
Yeah, I don't know. That might be something, I guess, that they could do if they want to, extend this mode somehow. But from what I can tell, it's extremely popular, and it's really fun. I am enjoying it. Like, I'll play a few ladder games here and there, and I am enjoying some of the new cards on the ladder. But I have been enjoying messing around in these dungeons too. And you can just create some serious, like, you just get into some wacky, really funny and silly situations in that mode.
I think you also kind of have to pay attention too. There's a lot of the bosses where you can't just throw out your cards and have fun.
Yeah.
You have to actually stop and be like, wait a minute, this guy's actually milling me and I didn't notice it.
Right. Or like, hey, every time I play a card, this guy copies it. So, like, what does that mean? How should I play in order to get things that I can do that he won't be able to do? Or there are some rooms that are some bosses that are essentially puzzles. It's like I have to prevent this thing from happening based on the cards that are on the board. And figuring all that stuff out is really interesting. There are also several the rare encounters that Blizzard calls them that are just literally some of them are jokes, and the jokes are kind of funny. But there are also some where if you fulfill a certain condition during the fight, you get bonus things, which may not be apparent, from if you could just play it straight and win normally, or you can wait for the condition to present itself and then fulfill that and get a bonus prize.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's very cool. I have really been enjoying it. I feel for that person who told you that they have been trying it so many times with one class and not completed it. I've only completed it with 2 classes so far, and I, for the life of me, cannot win as mage. I got a really good one going, and I got to the final boss. And, there's a different set of final bosses as well. There's I don't know how many, 3 or 4 different ones. And whichever one it was that I got just completely destroyed me. It was just turn 5 and I was at 10 health from, I think I was at 60 or 70 at that point. It was just I was just getting completely destroyed.
Yeah.
And you're just well, this went completely opposite to everything I had hoped up to this point. Dang.
It adds a refreshing mode where you don't get mad about card draw, right? I mean,
you can get mad about it, but it's well, sorry, man. And it's not like you can't just go back and try again, right?
Yeah, but it's not like on ladder where you're just 6 games in a row. If I'd drawn this one card, and now I've lost so many stars, I'm not going to get out of this rank. And the stress of that is just oh, well, I'll just start a new dungeon run because it takes no time. And yes, we got that question answered. You can log out and log back in.
Yes, thank goodness. Especially to complete all of the bosses does actually take a significant amount of time, but to complete, especially the early bosses, you could beat some of those within minutes, 5 minutes for some of those fights.
Sure.
And you're saying because the deck starts very small, you can pretty easily expect to see every one of your cards, in the first couple 2 or 3 games. You'll be oh, I have a 1 in 5 chance of drawing the one card that I need at this point, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's definitely, like I've said, the best single player stuff that they've done.
Well, they need
at least in my mind.
They need to keep it up, because if they can maintain this and maintain a popular thing, and with the amount and I haven't played as much as other people, but I enjoy it. And if someone came to me and said, okay, well, every time we do a card expansion, along with the card expansion is going to be a $5 upgrade to the dungeon, I would pay them $5 every expansion to play a new version of the dungeon or whatever like that, just staying involved in the game. And that'll keep them with people like me that are kind of not interested in the competitive aspect of it anymore, but like the game and looking at my collection and all the time I spent on it. And then they'll stay ahead of Gwent, who says that they're just not going to put out their single player till 2018.
Well, I guess they thought it wasn't ready, so they're hey, we're going to push it back. I am very interested to try the single player of Gwent. I definitely have fallen off pretty hard on the competitive side of that game as well.
I did too. I feel really bad that I did, because they made a really good game, and they keep adding stuff to it a crazy pace.
Yeah, they've definitely put out tons of cards since the last time I played, and I did see that they pushed that their single player stuff back. Unfortunate, but I mean, they want it to be good, so I'm sure they're getting it up to whatever standards they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm CD Projekt Red has pretty good standards considering they've done The Witcher, and it sounds like their new Cyberpunk game is getting a ton of work as well. So yeah, I said, it's a bummer to hear, but I guess we'll just have to wait.
Video games get delayed because they're not done, or they're not ready, or they're not good. And I think everyone would rather have games that are done and good rather than games that are rushed and not good.
Absolutely. Have you gotten much gaming in since we saw each other?
No, not really.
No Switch?
I have played a little Switch. I don't know how much I talked about Mario before.
Yeah, a bit.
A little bit. I have
talked a bit about it.
I've played a little bit more. I have discovered I don't think I'm very good at that game.
No. Have you been good at 3D Mario before, though?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't...
Reevaluation.
I mean, I didn't have a Nintendo 64, so I guess I didn't start and then I also didn't have a GameCube. I did play Mario 64 at some point, but I never owned it myself, so... But, I get by. But there's definitely, if you want to go see some amazing stuff, people out there, go ahead and check out the speed runs for Super Mario Odyssey. Wow. You can do some really crazy stuff with the like sort of forward leaping long jump and the hat throw and bouncing off the hat into a throw, into a jump, into a... I have trouble executing that forward leaping long jump at all. Just getting it to work. So, you're supposed to press a button while you're in the air, and he kind of does this forward dive.
Yeah, and I've heard that kind of changes maybe sometimes, depending on the world, or something like that.
I really can't tell you because I'm super bad at getting it to work, so you're asking the wrong person. But I can tell you that some people can get it to work all the time, and if you watch those people, they can just go wherever they want with Mario whenever they feel like it seems. It's like, that distance looks way too far. You're not supposed to be able to jump that, and there he is. He's over there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I watched a video of that at one point and was flabbergasted. How ridiculous! Because it's like there's clearly a way to get there without doing some of these. I won't say that they're unintended, but it's clearly advanced maneuvers.
Sure.
But there's a normal way to get up there too, by going around the backside and up through these ruins and then jumping across this thing or taking a platform or whatever.
Sure.
So I spent 45 minutes doing this, and this guy just started at the entrance and jumped up the wall somehow, he jumped off the wall and then kicked and landed on his hat and jumped and dived and kicked and then somehow was on top of the thing. And I was like, what? How? So if people are interested, go check out some Super Mario Odyssey speedruns. That game, I don't know if I said this before, but that game feels like it's very joyful.
How is the co-op?
I have not messed with it at all because it does not sound fun.
Oh, okay. I thought you may have tried it out.
Nope. Because the way the game explains what the co-op is, and the co-op is one person is in control of Mario, and the other person is in control of the hat. And that sounds like a recipe for bad times.
Oh, no.
You don't need the hat to get everywhere on the map, right? You don't, like I was saying, all those hat jumping shenanigans and stuff in the speed runs. You don't need to do any of that stuff, but the hat is really your method of attacking enemies and stuff. So it would be one person would be kind of roaming around the screen, hitting enemies, and then Mario would be moving. It does not seem great.
Oh, that's too bad. I wish that I actually honestly did not really look into the co-op for that game, and I did not know that. I kind of hoped it was Luigi had his own hat or something, and it was split screen or...
Yeah, sorry. It appears to be a lot more along the lines of the Super Mario Galaxy style of co-op than the here is an actual two-player mode.
Ooh.
Yeah. Super Mario Galaxy, though, also a very great game.
Sure, absolutely.
But this does not noted for its multiplayer, I don't think.
Gotcha.
But that game just seems really happy about everything, even when the things that are going on in it are kind of sad or strange.
Can we Can we discuss a universe that's not very happy?
Okay.
Mechwarrior?
The Mechwarrior universe is sad?
I mean, not sad in terms of like designing games is sad or like people that make the games are sad, but like the Mechwarrior universe itself is, I mean, it's not 40K. It's not like
it's not
Armageddon
grim
or
dark
whatever.
Badness.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like,
I mean, there's a lot of war in that universe. So
yeah, a lot of people get hurt, and I don't know. It seems
a lot of infighting.
Strange. Yeah. Strange to say that it would be like a good place to live. It probably wouldn't be a good place to live.
I mean, I guess
we
it would
got some
depend.
MechWarrior 5 news because they had that MechCon this week.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear this.
Oh yeah, so MechCon is a thing that I think that we should, like make money on this podcast and then have to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, oh, this is research,
That sounds fun.
Although, according to the new tax bill, it wouldn't be deductible.
I want to know what MechCon is before I commit to going to it.
Sure, it's as cool as it sounds.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't really know.
I feel like I would probably... you could probably just make stuff up and I would agree because it sounds rad.
I know that those BattleTech guys are there, and people that are posting about it post lots of pictures of miniatures.
Yeah.
But Piranha Games was also there, and they were showing off MechWarrior 5 stuff.
That's cool. What did they show?
MechWarrior 5's out in 2018, somehow. They're going to make it that fast. I think they're using their little online engine to make this game, so it'll probably go quickly.
Okay. Well, that's good news.
Mercenary storyline, which we already knew, but 4-player co-op with full mod support in Steam.
Hey, that's pretty cool. Steam Workshop support is pretty cool for games that do it, I think.
But to have a company, just think about this, though. They have an online version of this game, like an MMO version of this game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, we realize, like Andrew and JJ, are not paying for our game because they want MechWarrior 5. They don't want MechWarrior Online. So we're going to give them essentially 4-player co-op and mod support so they can pay us for this single-player game and then never play us for our online game.
Well, I think the idea there is that it's okay, like it costs less on their end for them to run a thing with 4 people than for them to run a thing with X number of people all connected at once, like an MMO,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not talking about the cost on their end. I'm just amazed that they're a company that's not like, yeah, we added MechWarrior 5, but it's inside our online game and you have to subscribe to it.
I mean, it's possible that, this is like now a completely... They're using the like art and the the models
absolutely.
And stuff, but they're just kind of repurposing it into a completely different thing. So
they have to be
online at all, really.
Yeah. No, they
guess it would have
definitely
to be
said it's a separate game. It's a single player game, but you can do co-op and you can get mods and all this other stuff. And
pretty cool.
I'm amazed that there's a company out there that's willing to do that. So pretty sure that MechWarrior 5 is going to get my money, unless it's like everybody pans it, but unlikely.
Yeah. I wonder how the one thing I remember about playing a lot of MechWarrior when we were younger was that the keyboard and mouse controls were sometimes tough because there was a lot of stuff where like you need the 1 through 9 keys to be your throttle across the top there, and then the number pad on the side would be like weapon groups, and then you need the C key and the V key and the H and the L, and then your hand on the mouse to aim, and it got very unwieldy at some point.
Sure.
I hope that they spend some time thinking about what the keyboard and mouse controls would be like and make them a little more sensical rather than requiring me to look down to figure out where the apostrophe is and the like left slash or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Because like I in the past when I was younger, right, like I had a joystick for some of those games and that was amazing and awesome. I don't want to get a joystick again. Please don't make me do that. Back when flight simulators and stuff were the cool things and these mech games were kind of simulators like that, it made more sense. But like, now it would be essentially buying a flight stick so I could play MechWarrior. That doesn't feel so good.
Well, you could play Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think that's still around.
Yep.
Or I think those Ace Combat games are coming to PC. That's a good use for a flight stick.
That would be a good use for a flight stick, but they also will probably support controllers because they'll be on consoles where they have to. So,
oh yeah,
and that would be an okay way to do that.
What if this game supports a controller?
I would not be opposed to that. I like to play games on controller on my computer. That's an okay thing for me to do.
I actually have a wireless adapter for a Microsoft one that I have not dug out of a drawer in a long time. So,
well, Steam now
controller support, man.
Steam now natively supports, for those people who have a PlayStation 4, you can plug your PlayStation 4 controller in, and Steam will do the support for it, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Didn't they try to make their own controller at one point?
The Steam controller is still a thing. You can buy those; they're out there.
I'm really sad that I found out too late that those Steam links were $5.
I think at one point there was a deal where they were $25 and you got a Steam controller with them.
They were a Black Friday deal for $5 just for the link.
That's extremely cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I would have done with that, but I mean,
who cares what you would have done with it?
I guess you're right, for $5, right?
It could be a paperweight for $5.
Very expensive piece of technology, or, well, I don't know. I guess not. It's selling it for $5. Maybe I misunderstand.
Someone will think it is.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, that's a really glossy, big paperweight you got there.
Yeah, well, welcome to my inbox. Well, I'm excited. Mechwarrior 5 stuff looks pretty cool. So, I'm amazed to be getting a top-down and a first-person BattleTech universe game at the same time. This is going to be an amazing year. And a reminder, every single person should go read those Polygon articles.
Yeah, the year of BattleTech. Or, wait, that's what it's called, right? I think so.
Yes. I believe it's called the Year of BattleTech series.
Yeah. So go check those out. They're very cool. And they talk both about this Mechwarrior 5 game and the other BattleTech game that Andrew and I have talked about on here before.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, great stuff.
I don't know. Well, Hawaii's gonna knock off loot boxes, so hopefully this Mechwarrior game doesn't have loot boxes.
What?
Well, I mean, every game has loot boxes, right? So maybe Mechwarrior would have loot boxes, but Hawaii apparently says no, or we're at least going to look into it and possibly ban them.
Okay. So, there's some lawmaker in Hawaii who is forming a committee to think about talking about this?
That's the news story that we get in the U.S., but the more important thing to remember is that apparently the EU is looking into this as well. And
yeah, that will be...
So goes the EU, so goes gaming in general.
Well, I mean, they want to sell to the worldwide market, right? So
right. And the EU is generally more liberally focused about protecting people from stupid things like predatory loot boxes.
I would not use the liberal-conservative divide there. I would say the EU is typically more consumer-friendly.
Okay.
Across the board.
Okay.
And I think that that's going to be true here as well. And, I definitely think that there is some kind of psychological aspect, and we talked about this a little bit before as well, but, calling it gambling is a really weird thing because people have such specific notions of what you mean when you say gambling, right?
Right.
It involves casinos and you have to go place bets and there's no money being changed, so it's not technically gambling or whatever. But there's definitely these blind box items and stuff have some kind of psychological aspect to them that can be seen as predatory or can be predatory in some situations.
What's interesting is I'd like to do, and maybe we should do this at the next BlizzCon. We should ask people, because they actually produce physical blind boxes. And a lot of companies do this, but it would be an easy thing to do at BlizzCon because there's a direct correlation. We should ask people, do you think, and hold up one of these mystery minis boxes, like the miniature, Overwatch figures that are blind, right? You don't know what's in there.
Right.
Are you technically gambling when you buy one of these, right? Or are you just buying it for fun, right? And you're going to get an answer where people are just buying them because they don't care what's in them and they think they're cute. And there's people that are gambling to get the gold Reinhardt or whatever, right?
Right. Yeah, it
would be interesting to ask people and see what the divide is. Is it 70% think the physical one's gambling and 30% think that the digital ones are gambling?
And it doesn't even matter whether you label it as gambling or not. right? Do they understand the sort of thing that they're using to tap into their like desire to get more, right?
Sure.
You even talked about like when we were collecting those badges and stuff at BlizzCon this past year about that kind of like want to have the complete set or the whole thing of whatever, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is a
chase.
That is a psychological aspect they're using to get at your mind to try and get you to pay them more for these, things. If I only buy enough of them, I'll be able to get all of it or whatever.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, I just wonder how cognizant people are of that fact, especially when, games like Overwatch and some Overwatch specifically in Blizzard's case feature those blind box items so prominently.
Thankfully for the Overwatch, it's so tertiary to the game that you can ignore it.
Of course, and like we said, to Overwatch's credit, nothing in those boxes really affects the way the game plays.
But, it's the same for Counter-Strike, and Counter-Strike has a global market and thousands of people that have run up huge credit card debt, and they've run stories on these people trying to get, a pink Sig Sauer rifle or whatever. And those are the same as the Overwatch ones, even less important in most cases, right? Because you can't even see the thing you're getting half the time. So it's interesting to see like how different communities react and how overwhelmingly the reaction can be positive or negative to these things based on how they integrate to the games. EA, as an example, with their latest Star Wars debacle. It's all over the place, and I wonder what these investigations are gonna.
And like none of this is to even mention like the 10 million phone apps that exist that run on these principles, right?
Absolutely, right. Even Nintendo ones that we like.
Totally, and there are some that do the more like I don't know how to pronounce, like the Japanese style, the gacha system, like a UFO catcher kind of thing. Spin a dial and you get an orb, and that has a thing. And there are other ones that straight up have crates and boxes like this, or card packs like Hearthstone. And, there's millions and millions of mobile games and insane amounts of money going through those systems.
Yeah. Well,
so, I think it's good that there are people in the, the legal sphere who are starting to wake up to the fact that, there need to probably be some very basic and very obvious restrictions on this stuff where it's like, or hey, at least, maybe, kids it should be harder for kids to access this stuff. Maybe because maybe a 5-year-old who is playing on their iPad that they got from mom doesn't know that they're buying 500 boxes for $80 million or whatever.
Sure.
And of course the phone and the phone and the platform people don't want that to happen either, but it happens. You hear about those stories, right? Oh, this kid accidentally spent $5,000 on whatever mobile game. Maybe there's something there where maybe we should say, hey, it should be a little tougher for that to happen, right? And if an adult wants to do that because they want to be number one in Clash of Clans or whatever, that's perfectly fine. If you're a hedge fund manager and you have hundreds of millions of dollars you don't know what to do with, and you want to be the best guy at whatever mobile game by giving them tons of money,
but I also know,
go for it.
I also know people that are check people that were running, $300-400 a month into these games too, and they couldn't afford it. So it preys on people too. You just happen to be a hedge fund manager and can afford it in certain instances doesn't make it okay.
I'm just saying, I think that it's more if we want to set a very low level here.
Sure.
The thing that
least invasive.
The thing that everyone can agree on, and probably you could get the industry to agree on, would be maybe we shouldn't exploit kids. And I guess we'll be okay with exploiting exploitable adults.
Sure.
But does it make it morally right? I'm not going to try and argue that. That doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah.
But casinos do that to people too. So
well, at least it's not just Seattle screaming in the dark anymore. It's the EU and Hawaii, and there'll probably be more states that join in. I would bet California joins this and a couple other places.
As it becomes a bigger facet in life and more people pay attention to this stuff, and as the the ruling class kind of changes over to the next generation. We kick all the baby boomers out and send them to Gitmo or whatever. Sorry, that was a Wu-Tang Financial joke for people who didn't.
Yeah, you guys should go follow Wu-Tang Financial, especially because, oh man, you know what? It's probably too late now, but reminder, call your freaking Congress people because apparently they're just going to throw out net neutrality without listening to the 22 million comments they got.
Yeah, people should really call their Congress people about that. It's very, very sad.
There have been a slew of articles about what net neutrality is because apparently only 30% of the country still even knows that it requires the internet to not throttle them, etc. Like breaking it down to the most basic terms, people still don't understand what it is. So if your mom or your grandmother don't understand why you're angry about the internet,
just ask your grandma if she wants to pay an extra $5 to be able to see you on FaceTime.
Yeah. Boom.
Because that's how it's going to be.
And we all know that Congress people listen to grandmas, so make them call.
There you go.
Okay. We probably missed the boat, but hopefully we didn't. Maybe they'll delay the vote.
Even if they pass it, you should call them anyway and tell them that you don't like it.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Get angry. Get grandma angry. Get her to call. Not on FaceTime because she'll have to pay for it, though. Word. Anyway, speaking of breaking news, the Patriots just lost to the Dolphins.
What?
The Patriots just lost to the Dolphins because they couldn't recover an onside kick, meaning that it's a Thompson toilet bowl in the league.
Delicious.
I cannot believe Jarvis Landry got 16 points so that Sean beat me by 1 to send me to the toilet bowl.
Delicious. I am waiting to hear how this goes.
Okay, so we haven't had a tie all season in fantasy football. This is the Rantasy Minute.
Okay, we're on that.
We haven't had a tie all season, not one. First week of the playoffs to send someone to the toilet bowl. A reminder for people that weren't here last season. The toilet bowl literally is the final prize for last place in our league.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed that Alex changed his team name to Poo Patrol, which is pretty great.
Props to you. That's amazing.
Yeah. No ties all season, and there's a tie in the playoffs for the toilet bowl.
Wonderful. Well, I hope you remember whatever the tie-breaking rules are.
The computer will remember them and sort it out for us.
I'm certain the computer will remember, but I don't remember, so I guess I'll be waiting for tomorrow.
By every metric, I believe.
What if there's a stat correction?
Lost. Oh, true. There could be a stat correction, but by every metric, I believe she has lost. See, now if we had done fractional scoring, where would this be? Momentous moment wouldn't exist.
Is it momentous, though? I don't think it's exciting.
Come on, this is exciting. It's the first thing I've been excited about all season. Let me have this.
You know what's exciting? When your player gets a catch, you get points for it. That's exciting.
No ties all season. 14 weeks in, we get our first tie, and it's in the playoffs for the last place game, and you don't think that's interesting and cool.
I mean, it is interesting and cool, but, I've also tied in leagues with fractional scoring, so it's still possible.
Anyway, by every metric, I think she's lost. She's a lower seed. She lost to him during the regular season, although she did have more points than him during the regular season. So
you can go into the settings and find out what those tiebreakers are if you want.
Yes, research.
Or I guess you could just wait. I guess we don't do research on this podcast, so you just wait and find out what happens tomorrow morning.
Playoff tiebreaker, best regular season record versus opponent wins.
Okay. Research was performed.
So she's lost.
Bummer.
It's a Thompson toilet bowl.
Well, I wish you both luck.
I have to win because otherwise the seat's going to be in the office. I can't actually take one for the team here.
Well, I mean, it's supposed to be a competition. It should not be any tanking. It ruins the spirit of the competition, right? You both want to win.
Yeah, I guess so. Jarvis Landry got 16 points. First of all, the Patriots lost.
That is, losing to the Miami Dolphins is impressive because that team is bad. Miami, I mean. Although I will say, in a team in another league where I am in the playoffs this week, I have Jarvis Landry, and my team name in that league is Dirty Landry. I thought it was pretty good. I have a picture of a washing machine. And he's been on my team all year, and he's actually been doing okay. I mean, he's not great or anything. He was the only player I had with a funny name. I don't know what to do. But, he brought me the victory this week, although I think I was probably going to win anyway. No, I did actually need his points, so okay. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I did need those points through Jarvis Landry. Well, probably by the time this goes up, fantasy will be, if not over, very close to over.
Complete, yeah. In the new year, we will let you know who won. Because this probably isn't the last one before the new year, but it won't be until the new year that we'll know who won. But the game, I'm just messing up how to explain this. You explain it.
Maybe we'll post some pictures on the page when the toilet seat is awarded to the awardee
in the Thompson
later in the year.
Yeah. Ugh. All right.
Well,
at us.
Yeah, we have an email for that, podcast@wewergamers.com. We also have a Facebook page, which you could go to, which is We Were Gamers on Facebook there. Do that. We're also at We Were Gamers on Twitter and Instagram. Do those. Get at us, and we'll get back at you with these hot pods.
Right on, man. Well, wish me luck, I guess.
Yeah, you can do it, man. I believe in your team.
All right. Peace.
Bye.